Do you have one of the new Chinese radios like the TYT or the Baofeng or the Wouxun? And have you tried to program it through the cable and found just a mess on your hands and been frustrated? I have answers. Welcome to Ask Dave, episode 37. I'm Dave Kassler, KE0OG, here with another episode of Ask Dave. A lot of people have had trouble with the programming cables that come with their Chinese radios, and I want to talk about how to make that work. I've had trouble myself. I run Windows 10 on my laptop, and the older cables have older chips in them that won't work with the drivers that come with Windows 10. In fact, the latest driver for Windows 10 seems to reject them completely. So I want to come up with a solution. This is not the only solution, but this is a solution that makes this thing work. But to really understand why and how, let's take a look at this diagram. We see here on the left the radio, for example, the Baofeng, the Wouxun, and the TYT. I have one of each of those right here, actually two Baofengs. And then there's the programming cable. It plugs into the radio's headphone/speaker jack, and then it goes into a USB port on your computer. Now let's take a look at what's going on inside the computer, because this explains the problem that people are having. At the hardware level down here, there's a USB, and that goes in okay. You just slip it into the USB port. And then there's the operating system, for example, Windows 10, which is what I and an awful lot of other people use and what you're going to get on any new Windows laptop. And then there is something in Windows 10 that you have to put in because all hardware devices are different. So there is a driver for each one. I know there's nobody who gets in there and spins a wheel, but it's the kind of thing that allows the operating system to control the external hardware. In this case, the driver has to match the chip that is inside the USB plug. That may not look like there's a chip in there, but there is. There's a chip. The older cables had prolific chips. And unfortunately, a lot of those were counterfeited. So Prolific came up with a new driver that would not recognize the old chips. And that's what creates the problem with these old chips. They have the Prolific chips in them, and the new Prolific drivers won't recognize them. So what we need to do is get a cable and a driver combination that do work. Now, the solution that I have used, I went to PowerWorks and got their what they call the red programming cable. For obvious reasons, it's red. Now, the chip that's inside of here is not actually a Prolific chip. It's a different kind of chip. And we get the driver off of the website and everything's hunky-dory. Now, I'm going to show you how to get this. Okay, and then the important part, how to get the driver and get the driver installed so that we're ready to actually use the cable. And in a future Ask Dave video, I will show you how to actually program it using the piece of software that's up here. You can put different kinds of software up here like Chirp, or TYT has their own software. The Japanese radio manufacturers have their own software too. So that's how we're going to make this work. So let's put this stuff all aside here, and we're going to go to the PowerWorks website. You go to powerworks.com and you get to the PowerWorks website, and of course they've got all their splash ads here for the many, many different things that they offer. They've got some great power supplies, great place to get the Anderson power pole connectors, and so on. Now, if we go up under two-way radios, now they don't sell all the different Chinese two-way radios. They sell the Terra and the Wouxun, plus one down here that they have branded their own. But let's go down here and look accessory type, okay, and we're going to look at programming cable and software. Now, the one that we want is what they call the red cable, okay. This is the red cable right here. And the thing is, and this is what's important, it works with Windows 10, 8, 7, or Vista and uses the USB. This has the newer chip in it. Okay, so we order this and wait a little while for it to come. And it comes with some instructions on the front of it. And what these instructions say is that you've got to go get the driver. And you get the driver. I'll show you where to find the driver. So we go back up here to where it says Help, and just hover the mouse over it and come down here to Software Downloads. Okay? Now, the software downloads, we come down to USB programming cable drivers. Now, this is for the black cable that I'm looking at right now. And it's got the obsolete driver that drives the black cables, except for the fact that Windows 10 won't really let you use it. So that's why the red cable, see, they say the black cable isn't supported anymore. So we go into the part where it says red cable, and now it tells us that it wants to download something that's a driver. Now, I like to keep my downloads kind of separate from each other. So I'm going to go down here to PowerWorks. Okay, now I've actually already downloaded it, but we'll just do it again. And we go save. Okay, and we've saved that one there. Now that we know where we went, we can go into the file manager and go to downloads and go to, now you see I've got an awful lot of stuff I've explored. Go to PowerWorks, and it recorded the old one and the new one. And this is the one you'll get without the one in parentheses. In fact, I'll just make that go away. Okay, now when you run this, you click on it to run it. Before you plug the cable in, you need to install the driver. Okay, so we'll install that driver. It asks, do you want to allow me to do this? Now, it asks if I want to install a new instance of this application. If you were doing this for the first time, it would just go right in. But in this case, I'm going to just write over the one that I've got just because it's easy to do. Now, this is not a prolific chip. It comes from Silicon Laboratories, whatever that is, okay? And then next, and you get the splash screen on the thing right here, okay? And then it goes through the setup process, and I'm going to click Modify here next. And then this will tell you what it's going to do. And next, and now it makes you wait for security reasons on Windows 10. So we'll just wait. Okay, there we go. Complete. Now, the next thing that we do is we plug in. I'm going to get out of this. We don't need this anymore. We're going to plug this into one of our USB ports over here on the side. Okay. Now you hear that little tit-tit-tit, okay? That means that it is recognized the device. Now we need to go check something, because the way the software deals with this, it doesn't recognize it as a USB. Seems very strange because everything's USB these days, but this is a virtual, meaning not real, but acts like real, COM port. So we're going to go down here into Device Manager. We do the search windows, okay, and we're going to search Windows for Device Manager, and there it is, right up there. It's part of the control panel. This is something you may not have looked at before, but it lists all the various devices. And I mean, everything is a device. Your screen's a device. Your keyboard's a device. Okay, we go in here. We're in Device Manager. Now, right here, we want to look at the ports, COM and LPT. LPT stands for line printer, and I haven't seen an LPT port in a decade. Okay, and there is one in there, and it's the Silicon Labs CP210X USB, and it's in COM6. That's going to be very important. It's on my computer as COM6. It would be a totally different COM port. on your computer. Now we're going to need that number, so write it down, because when we go into the actual programming software, we're going to want that number. Okay, so what have we done so far? What we have done is we have got a cable that works with Windows 10. It's recognized by Windows 10. It plugs in here, and now the next step in the next video is going to be to use the programming software to make this work with one of the radios. Now, I'm going to talk in the next video about how to download and use Chirp, which is a very widely used free piece of programming software. Until then, this is Dave, KE0OG. Please look at the little icons that flash on the screen. The round one that's got my photo in it allows you to subscribe. There's a square one with a picture of a tip jar and a dollar bill in it and Mount Snuffles in the background. That will take you to the tip jar on my webpage. And then there's another video-looking thing, and that is actually the playlist for the Ask Dave series. I hope to see you soon. Until then, 73.